Today is a good one. We're going to talk about the most powerful definition for leadership. It's a new way to look at it that no one else talks about. Whatever your leadership role, whatever your business, whatever your seniority, this is the most powerful leadership definition because it gives you the things you need to do to actually be doing leadership. If you haven't got a leadership role yet and you really want that promotion, with this definition, you can start leading right now and build the experience you need. And if you're already in a leadership role, well, this definition is going to get you on the right track and give you a boost towards that next pay rise or promotion. So here it is. Leadership is understanding what's going on, figuring out what needs to happen, and working with people to make it happen. And I'm going to show you exactly how this turns into a set of 3 critical questions that leaders must ask themselves all the time that actually push you into doing leadership. But first, I need to tell you where it came from. This all started with my friend Kate. She came to me shortly after getting a promotion and said, my job description suddenly has the word leadership in it, but I've no idea what it means. They're expecting me to lead, but not telling me how. Now, Kate was brilliant. She understood the rule book for her role inside out, and there were loads of kind of policies and processes in her job, and she knew them all. But she had this feeling that leadership meant more than just following the rules and making sure everyone else did too. And she was dead right. Management is about following the rule book, hitting the deadlines, doing things properly. Leadership is about making progress, pushing things forward, doing things differently. And your business is going to teach you the management bit. They'll give you the rule book, they'll tell you the deadlines. But chances are, just like Kate, they won't even tell you that the leadership bit of your job is about making progress. Chances are no one's going to tell you John Maxwell's idea on leadership, that leadership is influence, or John Adair's ideas that leaders have to get stuff done, support individuals, and build the team. These are the things that I was talking about with Kate, but she kept asking me, so how do you do that? So we talked and ended up coming up with this new way to think about what leadership is. It's this thing I like to call the most powerful definition of leadership. Understanding what's going on, figuring out what needs to happen, and working with people to make it happen. And this thing has 3 features that I think make it so powerful. First, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about business leadership, political leadership, or leadership in your family, sports club, church. Think of any leader in any field that impresses you. Think about what they do, and I bet it'll come down to understanding what's going on, figuring out what needs to happen, and working with people to make it happen. Second thing, this definition applies whatever time scale you're talking about. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to write your next 3-year strategic plan, or you're dealing with the conversation you're having right now with one person. Over 3 years or 5 minutes, to lead, you need to understand what's going on, figure out what needs to happen, and work with people to make it happen. Third thing, it doesn't matter where you are in the hierarchy. With this definition, you don't need a team reporting to you. And if you've got one, it doesn't matter if it's 5 people or 5,000. If you can work out what's going on, figure out what needs to happen, and work with people to make it happen, you're leading. So let's break it down to see how it gives you a specific way to actually start leading right now. And we'll begin at the end because that's the obvious part. The thing everybody thinks about when you ask them what is leadership, working with people to make stuff happen. And there's 2 parts to this. First, working with people. So relationships, communication, empathy, humility. How do you engage with people? It's a crucial part of your leadership. The second part, making stuff happen. You have to get results, make things better, make progress. You can be the most empathetic or dictatorial boss in the world, but if you don't actually get stuff done, your leadership doesn't amount to anything. Working with people to get stuff done is the real substance of leadership. It's what John Maxwell's talking about when he says leadership is influence, shaping the activities of others to achieve the result. It's what John Adair is talking about when he says leaders must act to complete tasks, support individuals, and build teams. You work with people, individuals and teams, to get stuff done, complete the tasks, right? And most leadership definitions only cover this bit, working with people to make stuff happen. But the thing you have to add is something about deciding what to make happen. You see, most leadership definitions focus on some variation of working with people to make progress happen. But that falls short because leaders also have to decide what that progress should look like. Now, this usually crops up somewhere else. When people say leaders must have a vision, they're saying leaders have to decide what's important and what they're going to do. When people say leaders must have a strategy, they're saying leaders have to look at the context their team's working in and find a direction of travel. In other words, they have to understand what's going on and figure out what needs to happen. Do you see how powerful this is? In just 2 short sentences, we've got the fundamental pre-work that all leaders need to do before they start working with people to get stuff done. You have to understand what's going on and figure out what needs to happen. But there's an extra secret here too. You see, you should be working with people to understand what's going on and figure out what needs to happen. Your team is a goldmine of experience, perspective, and ideas. You should be having conversations with them to help you understand the context from lots of different viewpoints, walking around issues as if you're wearing their shoes. That's going to help you prioritize and come up with ways to deal with the issues that your team will buy into. There's an old marketing line that in order to sell anything, you have to find a way to join the conversation someone is already having in their head. And leadership is a lot like sales. But instead of trying to get people to buy your products or services, you're selling your ideas, priorities, and decisions. What I'm saying here is that by engaging with your team on what's going on and what needs to happen, you're going to be in a much stronger position to work with them to actually make things happen. Okay, so where are we? The most powerful definition of leadership is understanding what's going on, figuring out what needs to happen, and working with people to make it happen. And Kate loved this because it gave her something really specific to do to make sure she was leading. Whether you're thinking about right now, the next week, or the next 3 years, you need to constantly be asking yourself 3 critical questions. What's going on? What needs to happen? And how am I going to work with people to make this happen? The definition literally turns itself into a personal prompt you need to ask yourself in order to lead. You have to be careful because in any kind of leadership role, when you ask yourself what's going on, you're going to have about 10 different answers. And when you ask yourself what needs to happen, you'll probably get 2 or 3 different answers for each of the 10 things you're working on. So you're going to need a way to prioritize. And the questions, how do you work with people effectively? And how do you actually get results? These are things you have to learn how to do and are the subject of libraries full of books and hours of podcasts and YouTube videos. You could start with my Leadership Upgrade Pack. Gives you simple, specific tools to prioritize every day, have great conversations with your team, and get results. You can get it at leadershipjetway.com/upgrade. It's free. It's really easy to use. So definitely go and grab it. But once you have this definition of leadership in your head, once you have that clear sense that your job as a leader is to understand what's going on, figure out what needs to happen, and then work with people to make it happen, you can start focusing on the things you need to do to build your career. All right. Thanks for joining me today and becoming part of the Leadership Jetway Jet Set. I'll see you very soon. If you've enjoyed this episode, go grab my Leadership Upgrade Pack at leadershipjetway.com/upgrade. You get 3 easy tools to stay on top of your priorities, engage with your team, and start getting the results you need to build your career right now. It's easy, it's free. Go grab it at leadershipjetway.com/upgrade.